Hey guys, and welcome back to Bunny Marshmallows. So today you can see that I am in Fleeta Facility, and I will still be doing Brawler High content, but I want to try some Fleeta Facility too because I've been playing this game a lot recently. So yeah, today in this video I will be showing you guys a Fleeta Facility tips and tricks for when you are beast. And you can see me use some of them, which I'll tell you if I can see me using one in this clip. I am voiceovering right now, by the way. Otherwise, I'd be too focused on the gameplay. Okay, so the first tip is to have your volume on. As you can see, I just turned my volume on. This is because when someone's hacking nearby, you can always hear them. So then you'll know to check the area surrounding you. And this is very helpful, especially when you can't find anyone. And the second tip is to check the main hall. As you can see, I was going to check the main hall, but then someone messed up. And obviously, if there's a mess up, go straight toward it unless you're currently chasing someone. Then just focus on chasing that person. The main hall, by the way, is the room in the center of the facility map, the original facility map. There is not always a main hall in every map, but I'm talking about the facility map right now. So if you are in this facility map, the one that I am in the video, check the main hall because there is usually at least one computer in it. Sometimes there's two, but if you're unlucky, there might be none. And a bunch of players often, when they start, unless they spawn in a room with a computer, they usually check the main hall first. It's just a tendency of Fleet of Facility players. So you can usually catch someone there hacking. Most of the time I've played, I've always caught someone there if there's a computer. So yeah. Now the third tip is that when you are capturing someone, it is important what room you'd choose. I'd usually go for either one, small rooms that you can loop around quickly to check if someone is going into safe, or two, a room that has few openings that you can check. As you can see, the room I just captured this girl in is a very good room because it is at the corner of the map and there are only 3 possible entrances, but 2 of them are doors. So if I go through the window, very low chance that they'd be able to escape. Also, yeah, while I'm at it, I'm not gonna count this as an official tip, but always close doors. Always close all the doors in the room that you're going to capture someone in, because that just leaves them another entrance option and they can slam the door on you, which is really annoying and it will slow you down a lot. Now, while I'm talking about these type of rooms, we come to the fourth tip, which is to not hardcore camp. Right now you can see I'm still in this room, but that's because there are people in here. Hardcore camping is when you literally like stand just far enough as to be able to have the other person lose some health, but you don't leave the room. If there's someone else in the room with you, you're obviously trying to get them, and that does not count as camping because otherwise how are you supposed to win if you just let people save others, right? So why don't you want to hardcore camp? Well, one of the smaller reasons, the not as important reasons, is that most people will get angry at you for camping, okay? Hardcore camping. Yeah, you'll likely get into lots of fights with people if you hardcore camp, and in general it's not very fun for other people. And also, it's not very effective because you can only hardcore camp when often the other person saves them. And then hardcore camping basically ensures you always have one person, you know? But it's not very good if you want to try to capture everyone. It's not very effective to do that unless you somehow whack both of them, which is not very likely, and especially if there's a ton of people. If there's like 2 people, okay, hardcore camping might work, right? But if there's a full server of 5 people or even like 3 people, hardcore camping, it won't ensure your win of capturing everyone. You'll maybe get someone killed, but not likely you'll get more than that. And what you should do instead is to actually trace the pathways that can lead to your room that you can see me doing in this video sometimes. see, there's 2 possible ways people can come, right? So I go along those. There's no one here? Okay, I check the other one. Now, if your room is in like the middle of the map and there's a ton of people, you can do this kind of, I like to call it at a distance camping, where you basically trace along the pathways while not going too far from the room, looping around to make sure no one gets in and saves the person. I have to say, a lot of people do at a distance camping, and it's quite effective as well. So I don't know, I kind of suggest it to you if you want to try. Now, I'm gonna kind of merge these 2 tips. I'm gonna talk about them at once. So for my 5th and 6th tip is to first predict where your victims are going, which I'll expand on. And the other one is to try to avoid windows when chasing someone, since they slow you down, and additionally, you can't jump through windows when your runner is on. Windows are such a pain for beasts. They are just a bit better than vents. Okay, let me expand about the predict thing. So if they jump through a window and you're not right behind them and there's some type of distance between you, I would go instead to where you would think they'd go from there. Like if there's a door at the other end of the room, then go to there and most likely they'd be near it, since they'd most likely try to get away as far away from you as possible. Now, because a lot of pro players actually do this tip, they pretty much always try to predict where you're going. That's why if you do this and you're playing with a pro player, like someone who's like near level 100s, 70s, higher, even 50s, they may read your moves. But trying to predict where they're going still isn't bad, because even if you chase them through the window, it takes you some time to reach them, and by then they'd probably have exited the room through the other way. But with that being said, if you went the other way as you think they're going to the door, they'd probably see your glow or see that you aren't following right behind them, so they know you're going the other way. So then they'd go back through the window. So even though with pros, it's about the same as chasing them straight through the window, still try out this tip, because if they aren't pros, there is a good chance you can get someone with this tip, and if they are, there is not really any downsides to it either. However, there is one exception I'm going to tell you guys, so don't do this tip if this exception is met. So if the room is a relatively small room, and you're not too far behind the person, and there is no vent or window for them to exit from the other side, chase after them directly without predicting. There's a good chance that you can get to them before they can open the door. Also look, as you just saw earlier, since none of the other doors were open and there was only one window and no vents for the person to go through, if they tried opening the door, they would have gotten whacked quickly by me. So that's why they tried to head back to the window, but I knew they were going to do that, so I went to the window and I caught them. So that's a example you can see in real time of predicting where your victims are going. Now for tip number 7. It is to save your runner and don't use it with windows. Like I said, you can't jump through windows with runner on. So if you see someone heading toward a window and is relatively close to it, don't waste your runner. Runner timing is another crucial thing in Fleet of Sildy and can play a major role in your winning or losing. So you want to use it at the best possible time, and if someone has a good chance of escaping, then save it until you get closer to them. Now, for tip number 8, second last tip is to remember computer locations. In Fleet of Sildy, there is always one extra computer over the amount it says in the beginning. For example, if at the start, at the top, it says they need to hack 3 computers, there will be 4. If there's 5 computers, there will be 6. While you're trying to find people, remember if there's a computer and whether it's hacked or not. So, when there's only 1 computer left, there's a good chance you know where the locations of the last 2 are. If you're lucky, they'll be near each other, and it'll be very hard for the players to hack the last computers, especially if there aren't a lot of players left. Then you can kind of camp computers and switch between the 2. However, if you aren't as fortunate, they may be farther away from each other. but you can still switch checking between the two, and often you'll catch someone at one. Now for tip number 9 and the last tip. This is to check lockers. And by this, I don't mean to always check lockers, as that can be a waste of time. But if there's a mess up, I usually check the lockers in the same room as it, as often there will be people hiding in them waiting for you to go away. Also, if you saw someone nearby that entered a room, I'd usually check the lockers in it on my way out of it. And also, if you see someone enter a room but didn't see them exit it, it's likely they're in a locker. Okay, so that concludes all my tips for being Beast today. Comment down below if you want me to do another video on tips for being Survivor in Fleet Facility, and tell me if these tips were helpful to you. Of course, everyone has their own different playing styles, so some of these tips might not suit yours, but in general, these can help you increase your win rate. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day or night. Comment down below if you want more Fleet Facility content. Bye!